one of the things I found so interesting is this book, it's not a Christian book, obviously, but you can tell that it is infused with your Christian worldview. And like you mentioned, Ashlee, the Christian view of the world is just diametrically opposed to so many aspects of the ancient Greek view of the world. So, how did you go about trying to create a book with that's infused with Christian thoughts in a world that would find those thoughts just alien and strange?
Yeah. Yeah. Subtly. It's, yes. And I would say even in this genre, it's a very, very different from all, because mythology retellings are very popular right now. But I think what they're saying is a lot different from what we wanted to say. And what has been gratifying is that to hear that people from all different backgrounds, people who are not Christian, but who love reading mythology retellings, are struck by something like, there's something different. There's something, and they don't necessarily know how to name it, but they're seeing feminine rage is the big buzz phrase in this space.
Circe was justified in turning those men into pigs.
Yes.
Yeah, one of
Yes.
those
And
things.
and that was exactly what we wanted to that we wanted to show the exact opposite, that love is so much stronger, that is such a much stronger force than rage, that, rage is Achilles' downfall. Rage is the downfall of the characters of the original story and our story. And that, again, that's, I think, where Hector came in. I think when we kind of, I'm going to try to talk about this without giving anything away, but I think I can allude to it. He is definitely the sacrificial Christ figure. And that always felt like what he was, even in the original. And so there's a moment when he goes to have his last stand against Achilles. And if you don't know how, I mean, it's several thousand years old, so I'm sorry if you don't know how it ends, but Hector does not win. But he is portrayed as this throughout the whole story as this noble defender of Troy, he is never going to turn his back on his people, his father. He is like the exact opposite of Paris. And how he's portrayed in the original is that when he goes to face Achilles, he turns and he runs. He suddenly loses all courage and he turns and he runs. And that never felt true to us. That never rang true. That felt like that is what Homer needed to happen, but it never felt like it true to his character. And it's interesting teaching kids, and they all say the same thing. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Why does he do this? It doesn't feel like Hector. And so that was really an opportunity for us. And I'm not going to give this part away, but we wanted to, again, flip that on its head, but it was already there. So it didn't feel like we're imposing our Christian worldview on a story. It felt like there were already the seeds of that story already in the original, and that Hector always was kind of the antithesis of the Kleos, the glory achieving immortality idea, that he was always the counterpoint to that. And so this was just an opportunity to, I think, when it was probably the most amazing writing moment of my life, like when we were having the conversation, we're like, this is why he does it. This is why he does it. And so, yeah.
That's so
and yes. And so it's one of those examples of, the Christian story is baked into every great story. And we just had to do a tiny little twist. We didn't have to change everything to pull that thread and to show that, the idea that love and sacrifice are what achieve immortality, not glory, that was already felt like that was something that was there, that we just emphasized a bit more.
Yeah, we're running low on time, but final question along those lines is that just something I kept thinking about as I'm reading the book, because I'm no expert, but I'm an Iliad enthusiast, so I know the story, I know what's going to happen. So the whole time you see the relationship between Hector and Andromache and Cassandra and his son. There's just this doom hanging overhead, right? Because it's like the whole time it's like, I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Oh, there it's happening. That was not Achilles. That was Patroclus. Oh no, Achilles. So and that was just one of those things I kept wondering, like, how are they going to pull this off, right? How are they going to have a good and satisfying ending when we know, based on the source material, all of their characters are doomed in a sense. So without giving, specifics away, no spoilers, but how did you guys approach that just really, really difficult task of coming up with a satisfying ending in that circumstance?
Yeah. I mean, I think it goes back to,
and to piggyback on that.
yeah.
Oh no, I was going to emphasize what Matthew said, because it was another question that was related, which is the same question, it's just emphasized. Given Matthew's question, and given that so many people only read a book if they think it might have a happy ending, I feel like you guys had an uphill battle. And so I'm just basically adding to Matthew's question, and now please answer that.
Yeah.
That's a tall order.
And a lot of readers who read the first book, they would reach out to us or interact with us on social media. There was that same kind of feeling like, I want to read the second book, but I'm really scared because I know the story. And that, it was a very challenging task, but that it was also so fun to say, how can we make people think that the story is actually going to turn out differently? Because we wanted it to feel like, wait a minute, are they going to change it so that Troy actually doesn't fall? Like, we wanted that doom to that, that sense of, I know what's going to happen is obviously going to be there, but we also wanted there to be enough, I guess, freshness for it to make people believe, who know the story, that it could actually turn out differently. And then as far as, how we did end up handling the ending, I think this again goes back to the two girls reading Tolkien on the couch. And we always said we want to Tolkienify the Troy. Like, that is our goal. We want the eucatastrophe. We want an unexpected, small but powerful, ray of hope at the end. And so that it's not everything is tied up with a nice bow. It's not happily ever after for everyone. As Matt said, the major characters, the names, if you're familiar, how the story ends in the myth. And we mostly kept with that. But there was an opportunity to infuse the ending with some hope and to make those, all the things they did have meaning. And I think that's, what we wanted to say, those small acts in the shadows, they did mean something in the end. They did do something. And so, yeah, it was a tricky thing. It was very difficult, but it was also one of those things that I feel like is like a once in a lifetime. Like, I don't think I'll ever write a better ending. Not to say like that, I don't think it's like, it did feel like something about the two of us together, like our friendship and the conversations. Like, I could have never written that on my own. It never would have. It felt, inspired. It felt like the Holy Spirit was, I don't want to be like over dramatic, but it did. Like, when we came to that realization of how we were going to end it, it was like, this doesn't come from us. Like, this is not something we could just pull off on our own, or even with just the two of us. But yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, listeners, we are sadly out of time now, but in case me and Christina have not been quite blatant enough, please read these books. They are fantastic and we love them.